Hello everyone, Jesse Webb, Traders Pro. Market conditions, bullish in a bull market. Uptrend currently at a 12.12. So we're getting that number represents this number right here in terms of the strength of the bull market. And you can see where we had gone. We had gone from this level down here in October all the way up to this upper range. Now we ended up getting this crossover, which on our indicators represent a new bull market here at this point. So we've been there since early May, late April, and continuing that overall uptrend. Now we're definitely to the upper end of that range, and we've been talking about this now for quite a few weeks and probably will continue for the next little bit. Overall momentum still looking good, pulled back a little bit. We've had a couple of days of really nothing in the market, and that's kind of what we want after a decent an uptrend, to be able to pull that market back into that buy zone. Breadth indicator also looking strong, which means there's a large number of stocks participating. Sentiment also good to represent that there's not a lot of fear in the market. There's more complacency, which at some point that's going to reverse, and that's at these edges of the market, these upper edges of the market. If we look at sentiment, we're towards the upper edge of that. We had a nice little pullback though, so we're definitely not extreme. We could see another move higher, and the internals are set up to do that. It's looking like as of right now. Remember that on the buy-sell ratio on this tab right here, that's the market trend tab, and you go to the buy-sell ratio, just quickly glance at that and see, do we have green above red? That can be the bias going into the day as you're anticipating what direction to be focused on, whether or not to be aggressive or whether to be a little bit lighter. A little bit of a pullback here in terms of that. We typically see multiple attempts, multiple spikes on that. And so we've seen two here, and oftentimes we'll see that pullback. It might be a little deeper and then one back up again. So keep an eye on that buy-sell ratio, but it's looking good. We're also seeing a sector rotation that's starting to happen. We've talked about that a couple of different times, where we've got industrials, we've got mid and large cap stocks that are leading the group, where we have Russell 2000 small and mid cap and tech stocks that have rallied most of this year, and now those are pausing, and they're getting a little bit of a reprieve by some of these other these other larger cap stocks, and a little bit more risk off type stocks, meaning that they're just not quite as speculative. The quick fast growth of the Russell 2000 and NASDAQ 100 have really done well so far this year, but they're due for a pause. If we take a look at sectors, we're also seeing oil and energy come alive a little bit here. Keep an eye on that. It's ranked number 5 right here. We'll watch to see if we see increasing strength, but there's almost all of the new buy stocks in today's list are from that sector. So let's take a look and see. The top one here is DO, which is Diamond Offshore Drilling. It's already been in this nice uptrend, but you can see now this bullish profile, this buy profile. This is the profile I like to see. That is all green. We've got a signal that's buy. We've got a short-term uptrend and a long-term uptrend, and then we're right on the edge of this hold range where it's pulled back, and now we've gone back. In this case, it did go from a hold to a buy. That's why it's showing up in the scan today. And so you've had a nice support, nice confirmation move higher. So keep an eye on oil right now, because we're definitely seeing that shift over into base materials, oil, and even consumer type stocks. Here's another one, oil and energy, FTI. Nice pattern, not a real deep retracement, but we don't have to always have that within this overall uptrend, where you get a counter trend move, a pullback to a prior support area, which is what this area was, and then a confirmation bar right here. So you've got your confirmation bar. Really, you've got the table set. Now it's about execution in terms of, am I going to buy this? Am I going to not buy it? Is it a certain number of shares I want to buy? Where's my risk going to be placed? I always promote a risk level at the low of the bar or the low of the most recent hold signal right here. So if you want a little bit deeper stop, in this case, the bar was only 2.5%. So 2.5% stop, that's not a real wide stop. So in this case, you could have pretty tight stop. If it reverses, again, what a stop loss does is if it reverses all the way back down below that low point, then something else is happening. It may be reversing. It may have a little bit deeper pullback. But at that point, we need to reevaluate. And we don't want to reevaluate when we're going down, when we're going down, when we're going down, when we're going down. So if it reverses and heads lower, we need to make sure that we're out of that idea and moving on to the next one. There's no reason to hold on to it if it turns into something like this. Okay, it starts to waffle. You'll see it's weakening. It turns yellow and then it falls off the table right here. So be aware of when a stock is reversing and that risk profile is set up. Most brokers now are commission free, so you can have a very small position. The cost of transactions is so small at this point that it makes no sense not to have these stop losses in place. If you're afraid of selling, when do I get back in? You're going to know to get back in on a new confirmation bull bar. So if you get stopped out, don't worry about it. Now you're protected. Now you're safe. Your money is secure in terms of this idea didn't work out. I knew the risk that I was taking and I got stopped out of the trade. No big deal. Okay. It shouldn't be a big deal. Any trade you set up should never, ever, ever have you have a gut or pit in your stomach where you're like, man, this is way too big of a trade, or I hope that this trade works so that I can pay off my house. Okay, stuff like that is when you're going to get yourself into trouble because your position is too big. You've got too many shares. In a trade, it should simply be a transaction. It's like going to the gas station and buying a Snickers bar and a can of Coke. You don't think twice about that. In terms of a trade, you want your risk to be set up so that if it gets stopped out, then you're not even thinking twice about it. Okay, FTI. Let's move to a couple other. Here's another oil stock, oil and energy. This was not quite as strong of a confirmation bar. RELY, we've got some finance stocks that are also coming into that mix. We're seeing banks and brokers doing well also, so we're seeing a shift into other things other than tech. Here is a tech stock in the top 5. DECK, Consumer Discretionary, that's Decker Outdoor, that's the shoe and clothing company. So a lot of nice setups right here, and we'll see what the market gives us. That'll do it for today's update. Thanks very much and have a fantastic day today.